Well, well, well. This is my main man from way back. We go so far back, you guys. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, but he was not in the doctors, but he was a doctor because we wouldn't have been what we were without this brother that I know, but you don't know. So would you please introduce yourself, everybody, and let them know who you are?
Greg Howard, class of '78 from Mendel, Bob Peters' sidekick. Batman and Robin. Well, I can't actually say Batman and Robin because we already had a Batman at the school, but I was the sidekick.
That's right. We had a guy named Robert Ellis. His nickname was Batman.
Right.
And he's another doctor that wasn't a doctor, but really is a doctor, but he just didn't have a doctor nickname,
Right.
basically.
Right.
But Greg is here because we wouldn't have had the doctors if it wasn't for Greg Howard. And I think that everybody needs to know what the real deal Holyfield was. Okay, so we about to break it down. Now, Greg, what year? Oh, you already said, but as a reminder, what year did you graduate from?
1978.
Okay,
Class
so
of
we were
1978.
Yeah, so we were classmates.
We were classmates, right?
Okay, there we go. And Greg, just for reference sake, what do you remember, like about when do you think the doctors started? What year?
Yeah, I would have to say maybe sophomore or junior year, maybe.
Okay, like 75,
Right,
76.
probably 75 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember there was, I remember you guys wanted to get a dance group together. But the thing back then in high school was everybody was giving parties.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have these events, and it was kind of, it was interesting because some of them turned out to be money-making events where people wanted to do them because they would get huge crowds, but then it got to where there was entertainment and there was dancing, and then it kind of snowballed from there, where from the doctors came other groups.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was real interesting because there were other dance groups, male, and then there were female groups also. So I can't remember all of them, but I mean, I want to say there were probably 5, and the kids used to get T-shirts made, and they would basically have like almost Michael Jackson dance-offs.
There you go.
So that's what I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, Greg, would you consider yourself a dancer?
No, not at all. No, I mean, I couldn't hit a beat if you paid me $1 million. Yeah.
Okay, but Greg, guess what? I know you, like I said, because we've been friends since freshman year. So, do you like music?
Right. Well, yeah.
Well, now, Greg, do you like music?
Well, I love music. Yeah. Right.
Okay, because the reason why I said that, I knew you were going to say that, and the reason why I knew, because I know that you do love music.
Right.
And Greg is responsible for one of the I might even call it like a small miracle, exposing a song to the general public, and I'm talking about Cat Stevens.
Right. What's Dog and Donut?
Thank you.
Right.
And Greg, do you kind of remember how that went down? Can you?
Yeah. So as I said, I'm not a dancer or a musician. I actually tried to play piano and guitar, but I simply, unfortunately, don't have the rhythm. I mean, I couldn't get it. But I knew that you guys were always looking for good music, different songs, and I was probably so bad at really determining, like, I could hear a song and say, oh, this is a good song, but I really didn't know whether or not you could dance off of it. But I think on that one, I said, hey, Bob, you got to listen to the song. It was Dog and Donut, Cat Stevens album that I bought from a place called Rose Records.
Okay.
So you know they're not around anymore.
Right.
You know,
that was,
yeah.
In Hedgewick, was that?
No, they actually had some downtown. They had one downtown on Wabash Street, which they had upstairs and this and that.
Okay.
And then they had Rolling Stone Records, but that's where I got the album.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it for you over the house one day, and you were like, that's it. And I will say, sometimes people go back and they go, well, I was instrumental in doing this or doing that, but I'm gonna tell you, I mean, that did become a hit, and it was played on the radio because it was played at the doctor's parties and the Mendel sets, and that was how it hit the general public. I mean, there's no debate about that.
And you know what I want to add to that, Greg? I really believe that the album was called "Is It So?"
Is it so? Yeah.
And the album had gone out of circulation when you played that song for me, and they had to bring it back.
Well, right.
Because the response to the song was so big, and everybody wanted to, you know, use it to rap to it, or it was just a very, it's an instrumental song.
Right, and I'll correct you. I don't think rap, but I mean dance too, because back then there really wasn't the rap wasn't there yet.
And you see, that is why you are sitting right here now checking me, because he is absolutely correct.
Right.
Rap we weren't talking about Rapper's Delight at that point, but it was coming.
Yeah,
it was close.
Yeah,
it was close. Greg, I'm gonna throw a couple more songs out there at you.
All right.
A couple of iRobot.
Alan Parsons.
There you go.
Okay, right.
We danced to that too.
Right, yeah.
That was because of you, man.
Right.
You and Greg, let me tell you, I want people to get a little feel, man. Now you have like I'm gonna call it a library of music. Right. And then like how many songs you think you got in your library, G?
Well, from CDs, because I started collecting CDs when they first came out. So right now it's interesting because they have this streaming where everybody has access to all the songs, pretty much. But I actually have the actual CD or the records for all of them. So I probably have like 130,000 songs, and I can tell you I got like everything, Prince, the special things that they just aren't available. So I think, for example, the Beatles, they might have just started streaming them on Apple, but like my collection, I got everything. So that was one iRobot. I forgot about that. You don't hear that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was a popular song.
Oh man, you introduced me to Kraftwerk, that whole genre, of music, and that's what made us unique, because when you were dancing, you didn't want to have a song that everybody knew. You wanted to introduce them to a new dance. You want to introduce them to a new music, a new outfit, a new T-shirt, or whatever.
And when you mention Kraftwerk, my mind starts racing, thinking about that probably came from, or probably found out from that song at Wax Tracks on Lincoln, across from the Biograph, and well, actually same side of the street as the Biograph,
that's true.
Across from the Three Penny Theater.
That's correct.
And so Kraftwerk was it was an independent record store. You could find gems like that, or you might be able to pick up something on WXRT or whatever. But I mean, these were special songs. Now with the Kraftwerk song, did that have some words or?
They would have like just very minimal, very minimal lyrics, but it was mostly a musical thing. And other people were dancing. I think the Ebony Gents were big on Kraftwerk. They even introduced it to us. Well, we already know about Kraftwerk. But so Greg, now moving away from music, man. Okay. Now remember, I was your best friend. We were best friends. And Greg, you used to talk about that whole era. I'm calling it the Mendel Experience. And that's from, the doctors and the popularity of the school and the bi-levels and everything. But you've always focused on one thing that I want you to expound upon. And that's the way everyone sort of started a business. Their own, like, talk about what we used to do, man. Like when I would say, okay, Greg, we're gonna have another party. What would we have to do?
All right. So again, I keep on using the phrase that's interesting, because when I think about it, I'll tell you the thing that comes straight to my mind is the plugger, the advertising. And who's gonna draw the plugger? What's gonna be on there? And that was big, and everything had to be just right. And I remember we used to go underneath the South Water Street.
You're right.
There was a printer, and there was this
Right.
old guy that
Larry. His name was Larry.
That couldn't get a plugger on time. Right? I mean, if you wanted it on Friday at 5 p.m., he would say he was going to be ready to come by, and it might be 11 o'clock on Friday p.m., and he still didn't have it ready, but he probably got it, and he might have knocked something off. But yeah, you had to do a lot of willing and dealing, negotiating a location, a place.
Mm-hmm.
You anticipate how many people saw advertising when you didn't have the internet.
So there you go.
This was a word of mouth, but also the pluggers, the flyers were big.
And Greg, how did the people get the flyers? Because I keep hearing something about a Barracuda.
Well, back in the day, everybody started to drive, and I bought a 1973 Plymouth Cuda, Barracuda. And what we would do is we would go drive around, hit the different schools when we had the pluggers. But it was blue with a white stripe originally,
mm-hmm.
and then I got it painted, and it was red with a silver
decal,
kind of a decal on it, kind of a take on the Hemi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it wasn't a Hemi, it was a 340. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, we used to kind of make plans and lay out, okay, what schools are we going to hit? So I think it would be the school on 159th Street, Elizabeth Seton, Longwood,
all girl Catholic school,
Aquinas,
right.
Yeah, and it's funny, I don't remember too much of interactions with the public schools. It was more kind of the sister schools, but
mm-hmm.
it was basically Mendel, and then it was these sister schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we had many contacts. I can't remember from De La Salle or schools like that, but I know it was Mendel, and Longwood was big, and
yeah. What we would do is we would meet people and know people that went to all the schools, and we would designate them to be like our ambassadors and promote the parties at these schools for us. And we had an end. Right. And then we would go to these people, and because again with you helping push it like that, and we were obviously we were somewhat or very successful doing it. And again, I want to thank you. If I haven't thanked you enough, I want to thank you now so everybody will know. And because Greg, that was it was so important, that really, like you said, it was word of mouth.
Right.
We didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
Back then. So what would you like to say about the doctors? Would you like people to remember anything about us or know something about us that you think people might need to know or something? I don't know.
Well, I would say the real testament is the fact that we're still talking about the doctors. I mean, so think about it. I mean, the fact that we're still talking about it, that
40 years later.
Yeah. So that says it all. Mm-hmm. And back there, it was enterprise. You guys were very enterprising, because when I think about it, during this conversation here, you're mentioning like, oh, what did we have to do to kind of get things started? And it was really almost like taking a business course. And what was involved in getting everything going was unbelievable, but it was kind of a safe haven. People could go, and we didn't worry about anything like shootings or anything. That wasn't even on our mind.
No.
I can't even remember that there was any trouble at these places. That just wasn't happening. They were very, very well attended and
well behaved.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. Did you guys have to have special security?
Greg, I want to interrupt you because I love telling everybody, as big as the crowds were at Mendel, as huge as they were, one police officer. Okay. That's it.
Right.
And I'm talking bi-level men, and that's unheard of. I feel bad because the police officer, his son, I can't remember his name. He told me his father used to come home and brag about these thousands of of mild-mannered kids.
Right.
Just having a good time in a t-shirt,
right.
dancing and listening to music.
Right.
So no, we didn't have any special security.
Right.
That came later.
Yeah, and as I remember of those years, it was just kind of a no drama era. You know, there was always talk about, oh, what kind of crowd are we going to get, and you know, are we going to be able to cover the cost of the room? And the biggest thing was once you had the party, then it was almost like a team winning a championship. Then they're talking about the next they were talking about the next party, what's going to happen next, where we're going to have the next place. I mean, and then what would happen, I know at some locations, once they saw those crowds going in, they were maybe trying to squeeze you out and say, wait, maybe we could bring these people in anyway, and that didn't happen.
And that's what I want to ask now. That was a good. So would you say we were successful, popular, or what? I mean, like,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things in life that there's no debate about, and so I would say that that's not a conversation. The fact that I mean, we're still talking about it, and just think of all the things that have grown from the doctors. So you had people that, you know, began careers in music, you know, from the doctors.
Oh yeah.
And music is something that you know, everybody could relate to. And it's funny, after this interview, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna listen to Alan Parsons and Cat Stevens with Dog and Donut.
Yeah, because Greg, you know, like what got you liking music so much? I mean, it's unusual because I mean, me and you have a deal with Roxy Music,
right,
man. Yeah. And I think that when we first met, you were like in Paul McCartney. You were into rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, heavy. And I had heard this song by this group called Roxy Music, and I introduced it to you, and I think, man, they might end up being like your favorite band or something, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, back then, it was a situation where they would have these record stores, and you can go there and just kind of go through looking at the albums and the art cover. The artwork was something that stood out, but the whole, you know, production, and I mean the music, there were so many varieties, but I mean we did a lot of going to concerts. I know there's a group, B-52s.
Oh yeah, man. We did the tour. Now man, that's the one thing I really want to. And that maybe doesn't have much to do with the doctor, but we went to so many concerts, it was ridiculous.
Average white band at the Todd Rundgren.
Talking Heads.
Yeah,
so we saw them like 5 times.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We were all over the place.
And I don't want to bring back any bad memories.
Okay.
But I want to apologize to you about losing the Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets.
You know what? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this interview about to go south, y'all. This interview's not
we might have to go cut. Yeah. Because
Earth, Wind, and Fire. This is when they were working with that magician, and then they had the baddest concert stage show and everything in the world. And man, Greg was always getting tickets, and I said, I'm gonna get Greg some tickets. Yeah. And I got him these tickets to go see Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I said, Greg, you keep the tickets, man. So we hid the tickets, y'all. Yeah. And I'm not even have to finish this story.
Right. Never a good idea to hide something and not write it down where it is, because you gave me the tickets, and that's one of those things where you gave me the tickets, then I couldn't find them. Now I'm questioning, did you really give them to me? But probably 15 years later, I realized you really did give them to me. And you know, I think about that because in life, just think about it. We don't know what would have happened if we went to that concert. I mean,
there you go.
We could have been an accident. We could. I mean, because we actually were in. Not to ramble here, but we did go to a Don Henley concert,
and we got into an accident. Yeah, I had a whiplash. Oh my God.
So we don't know where our lives would have turned, because it would have just thrown off the course of events. But what happened was. Do you know where I found the tickets?
Yes.
Okay, you tell me, and I'm going to tell you if you're.
Oh my God! Guess where we found the tickets, y'all? In an Earth, Wind, and Fire album. Right. That's where we stuck them in there.
Yeah. So it was probably a perfect place to put the tickets, but I think it was in the closet. And I'm wondering if I go home to my mom's house, if I can find that album, if the tickets are still there.
I maybe not, because we probably saw the tickets and just threw them up in the air like, oh my God, here are the tickets, okay?
Yeah.
But it was so funny because everyone came to school. The next day, the teachers, everyone was talking about the concert, and we were sitting there just like, oh well. But like you said, Greg, it would have changed. It could have triggered a whole new chain of events, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, we traveled. We went to see the Talking Heads.
Oh yeah, Champagne Band. Yeah.
But average white band was the Auditorium. I know Todd Rugran, but we used to go to Aragon.
Aragon was awesome.
Let's see, the Uptown.
Oh yeah.
I know we saw Roxy Music.
Oh man,
Uptown. Peter Gabriel.
Couple of times. Oh yeah. We saw him there and at Circle, I believe. Peter Gabriel.
Okay, right. Yeah, we saw they had concerts at Circle.
There you go. Yeah. And that's what exactly for all you young whippersnappers out there. Circle is now known as UIC, and back then we called it the Harvard on Halsted. That's what we used to call it. And we all went there. A lot of guys went there from our school. Greg, let's try to get this back around to the doctor. Just a little bit, for the most part, because like I said, you weren't a doctor. You didn't practice with us, but you were in spirit. You know, you were. Me and you were just like freaking frack.
Yeah.
So we would go places. We would get people to help us promote. One thing I used to really be proud of was I would be able to go to people's houses and their moms, and they was all, Bob Peters, my daughter, I know all about you, and they welcome us into their homes, and they wouldn't have anything to fear. And when they bring them to, what about, well, we already talked about it, but when they bring their kids to our parties, man, they didn't have to worry about a lot of stuff, and that was really something to be proud of. So Greg Howard, in closing, I'm gonna say, what would you like for people to know? What would you like for people to know and remember about the doctors and the Mendel Experience?
That it was an experience, and it was a good experience. That, as I mentioned before, there was no drama. Like a lot of times nowadays, people go out and I don't know, you're so worried about being safe. And I would say that what we were doing back then, it was a safe haven. I mean, it was a safe place. And we did. I mean, I remember going over different homes and meeting the mothers and this and that. And they just had no problem because they heard about the parties, and just nothing ever happened but positive things. And I mean, it kept the kids busy because for some kids that weren't doing sports, I mean, this was a kind of a major activity. So not everybody's going to be on the track team or the football team, but I mean, some of the people did all those things. But I would say the majority of the kids in high school, when we were coming up, my guess is maybe 25% were involved in sports or so. But I would say the other 75 were probably involved in socializing.
Okay. And I know I said in closing, but I'm reminding myself that you were a music guy, and house music evolved, and you were in the clique. You knew the fellas, you know, Wayne, the Chosen Few. But didn't you buy Jesse's song, Just Say Records? You bought, he had come out with some song, but you kind of, from a music enthusiast, you kind of saw that house thing developing. And do you feel that we were integral or a part of that growth?
Because we were very close with Wayne Williams, and for some reason, and I'd have to ask Wayne about this again, but there was a song that it came out by Evelyn Champagne King. And I think it was called Just Something, and I don't know if it was a big hit, but I think it was something that he liked. And I kind of remember playing it and him going, "Oh wow, I didn't know about that." But Yeah, those things, for example, I'll tell you something really strange. I remember going to a Mendel party,
Okay.
and Jesse Saunders used to come over our house, and we'd hang out, go to parties, and this and that. And I didn't know he was a performer. He basically busted out with a cape and was dancing, doing James Brown splits and stuff. I was like, this is Jesse? I didn't even know that. But I mean, Jesse is pretty big. For example, there's a book out, something like 1,001 songs you need to listen to before you die, and Jesse's, one of his songs is in that list.
Oh,
yeah.
wow, okay,
Right,
okay, man, all right. Wow, you made me think of something, but it slipped my mind that quickly. It was about Wayne, Jesse, wow, it was so, it slipped my mind, but when we talk about house music, we graduated, we went to school and stuff, and that really came after we graduated in '78.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but it was building, it was growing, and Jesse had and Wayne, they were doing stuff. I was working with them too.
Yeah.
You know, and Wayne gets a job with Jive Records.
Jive Records, right.
And he really gets now. He's in there now.
Yeah.
So that was all of these things to me.
They were snowballed by the doctors.
Yes.
Started them out, and I would say, I mean, it was the doctors. Then was the organ, was ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And so then what happened from there? The snowball was getting bigger. It was the different dance groups, and then it was like more music, because I mean there were people like, for example, it was Wayne Williams. I mean he's worked with Will Smith.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
actually worked with Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
I mean that probably.
Steve Hurley.
Yeah, Steve Hurley.
Cat Glover.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Steve Hurley going to school at University of Illinois, and I would give him a ride home.
Okay.
He lived in an area called Pill Hill, and he was just this quiet kid, and I would give him a ride home, and like right when his class was get out, he would kind of say, hey, you know, I know, because we had other friends that lived in the area, and I would give him a ride home.
And Dakota.
Probably so, yeah. Yeah, well, not probably so, definitely, yeah. But this is when we were going to the University of Illinois.
Oh,
So
and you know, I remember something that you left out, and I'm shocked.
Okay.
I am shocked, America, that he left this out, because this was the most important thing about the Barracuda, guys. That Pioneer sound system, y'all.
Super tuner.
The Super Tuner and the JBL speakers in the back.
Well, actually, Jensen.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
See, the Jensen.
Jensen
Oh
coaxials,
my
right,
God,
yeah.
coaxials. There you go.
Right.
Oh man.
And they still make those, the Super Tuner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, Greg, I'm gonna tell you what else is super.
Okay.
Being your friend. That's super, man. And I'm so glad to know you, man. Let's look at the camera over here, Greg.
Okay.
And just say, have a nice day. Thank you for checking us out. And this is my brother right here.
Thank you very much. Bob Peters.
All right, my brother.
Okay.
That's love, man.